And as you can see here, when I pull up the mining laser, they have gone from unscannable to Q-type cluster. That was an amazing discovery yesterday, and this is a very important discovery that I think that you guys should know. Hey everybody, welcome to the channel, it's V, and I wanted to share with you two absolutely critical new pieces of information when it comes to prospector mining in the air and halo. And the first thing that we're going to want you to do as a pre-flight mechanic is take your mining laser head off, pull the vehicle, store the vehicle, and put the mining laser head back on. And that's what you see me doing here. So I've taken the mining laser head off. I've saved that settings in the vehicle loadout manager. I'm now pulling that vehicle. And as I pull that vehicle, you'll see that it gets put in hangar 6 here. And after it gets put in hangar 6, I actually do even pivot and get a visual on the pip for the ship and make sure that I do see it as pulled. And that's what I did there. And then I'm going to go ahead and just retrieve the ship again. So what I've done up to this point is I opened up the vehicle loadout manager. I pulled the mining laser head off. I then saved that, pulled the ship. Now I restored the ship again. Now I'm pulling up the vehicle loadout manager after it was stored again, and I'm reattaching the mining laser head and the consumables. So this is something we're going to recommend that you do now as a pre-flight every time before you fly out to the air and halo. And this is reducing the amount of unscannable rocks. It's not a perfect fix, but you will find that if there were no unscannable rocks or a very high number of unscannable rocks, this particular thing will help a little bit. And just all credit goes to Mastodon for this particular trick. He was hitting a snag out in the air and halo where he couldn't see any scannable rocks, and eventually we found this method to work. And then through some testing and through talking to some people on the channel, this particular thing is very important. It actually can make a tremendous difference on the amount of unscannable rocks you run into the air and halo. So the next thing that's coming up, however, is even more critical. So you can see here we're just kind of heading out to the hangar, getting ready to go to the air and halo, and we'll see you hopping in the old elevator, and we will see you out in the air and halo. So here we find ourselves in the air and halo, and before we go any further, I do want to shout out to Gearhound. Gearhound in a comment is the one who told me about this method, and I just wanted to make sure that the proper credit went there. And so you can see here I've actually located a cluster, and I am approaching that cluster now. Now I'm not getting any scan results in this cluster, and as you know, this is going to be one of many unscannable clusters that you can run into in the air and halo. So you can see I'm kind of approaching it. I am kind of toggling my scan angle a little bit. I'm just trying to keep it out in front of me because at this point I've already tested a couple of times, and so you can see I've rolled back to 45. I'm just trying to approach these this cluster in a way where I'm going to get kind of close to it, but you know, I'm not going to get super close to it. So what I found for best results is to fly in on these things, and when they first become, you know, rock icons right around here, you know, 1200, I think 1250 or something, get a few of them on. You don't have to get them all on. And from here, notice it's an unscannable cluster, but I am now going to EVA out of my ship, and this is going to for some of you who are super frustrated with the air and halo, this is something that will kind of blow your mind. So the one rule about this is when you do EVA, I think it's a good idea to get about around 90 away from your ship. You are just waiting till you get the message that says you have left your ship. But this was on stream yesterday, and I don't normally like re-record my streams, but this was so much fun. Anyways, so yeah, you can see I've EVA'd out. In this particular case, I got about 60 away. I have noticed, like I said, with some other testing, sometimes I have to get about 90 away, but you just want that message that you've left your ship. And so now I'm kind of EVA back into the ship, and it's really kind of an important step, as you can imagine. So into the ship we go. And that's a beautiful thing. And now we're going to jump right back into the cockpit. And as you can see here, when I pull up the mining laser, they have gone from unscannable to Q-type cluster. That was an amazing discovery yesterday, and this is a very important discovery that I think that you guys should know. So you can approach a Quantanium cluster, or really a cluster. I mean, I did this with E-types and M-types as well. But if you approach a cluster and get about 1,000, away or so, and then EVA out, sometimes it will turn in. It's not every time, but most of the time for me, it turned into a Quantanium cluster. Here is it happening again. Now, they're always going to be the cluster type that they are, and I will tell you the times that I approached them and got really close to them. It's a small sample size, but it didn't work that time. So once again, I am recommending that you kind of, when you approach a cluster and you have a big cluster and you're approaching it, just approach it up to where you're, say, 1,000 or 1,200 or 900 or something. Don't fly right up next to it. At least that's been my experience. So anyways, here I am, and I'm approaching the cluster again, and I thought that this would be helpful for you to see. As I approach the cluster, once again, I get it right around, I get a few of the rocks in. You can see some of them are 700, some of them are 1,100, 1,200 away. And that's just around this area here. You can see them there visually. I kind of EVA out again. So it's an unscannable cluster of rocks that you've located, and you go ahead and exit the ship. EVA out. And I think I'd probably turn around here and look at the ship as I kind of back away from it. So you can see, just kind of at some point it switches to ladder to prospector, the pip. I think that's a good sign as well. And then, but the most important thing is you're looking for is where it says you've left your ship, and you can see I get out around 90 here, and it does that. 90, 95 that time. See how it says I have left the prospector. Then you start heading back in. As soon as you kind of get that, it's a good idea to head back in after that. And we're approaching an EVA. Go ahead and get back in your ship. And you're going to see here, the TLDR is, we climb in the old ship. We climb in the old cockpit, and for sure, when we pull the mining laser back out, it is a Q cluster, and it's a scannable Q cluster. And in both of these cases, I was able to mine the rocks. Now, the clusters only had one good one in it each, but that's not the way it always works. So anyways, I hope you find this tip or trick well. I think it's a critical addition to the air and halo mining, something that you should know. I love sharing these kinds of tips or tricks. Thank you, Gearhound. Thank you, Mastodon. Please take care, and I will see you all around the verse.